going on, Jerome? So the Minnesota Vikings need to rebuild that defense, and imagine Brian Flores with an influx of talent on that side of the rock. So we need to get back to having the meats up front, and yes, O-line. Fully understand that, but one thing at a time. So we fired up another 7-round mock draft over at Pro Football Focus, and we just sticked and picked. Now, the Vikings have 2 4ths, 2 5ths, and 2 6ths, and for whatever reason, one of the 6 turned into a 5th. I ain't complaining. Also, we got extra 7th in there. I don't know, man. A projected compensatory pick, which probably isn't going to go through, but it is what it is. And so we occasionally like doing the mock drafts where we draft off screen and then we go through each pick a little bit more in depth. We're going to do that today as opposed to just fly by night and then just trying to do 17 trades because that's what we do. So at 11, Latu coming in out of UCLA. Now in this iteration, Dallas Turner went right before us, and it was a choice between Latu and Jared Verse. So basically the 2 old guys at the party. But Latu turns 24 in December. He's 6'5", 267, unanimous All-American. And he did have some medical concerns up at Washington. He actually retired for a season. But 2 seasons in Westwood, he's done some really good things at UCLA. 13 sacks, 62 pressures, 96.3 PFF grade this season, which is good. Oh, he's got a high PFF grade, which means that Kwesi's going to draft him. But good size at 6'5", 267. He is twitched up, does have good bend, also really heavy hands on the outside, can rush with power, can rush with speed, needs a little bit of refinement, but what a rookie coming in doesn't. And medically, if he checks out, I would be perfectly fine with him on the edge. And I'd feel fine with him if the Vikings re-sign Daniil or even if they don't. Just adding more, it's a passer and get the passer league, and just more dudes who can create their own pass rush certainly would be a plus for the Vikings. Second round, J.J. McCarthy, dynamite. So coming on in at 42. Now, does he get this far? I think that McCarthy would be a prime candidate for back end of the first round or top of the second round, trading up and maneuvering. But either way, the Vikings do get their quarterback of the future. And these 2 picks, whether Kirk is back or Daniil is back or not or whatever, I feel fine with these first 2 picks. But McCarthy, you're betting on the come with McCarthy, right? So everyone makes a big deal. Oh, he only threw 18 passes in the national title game. That's because Michigan was running down the frickin' throats of Washington. So get out of here. But you're betting on the projection, and he just turned 21 in January. He's going to play this season at 21 years old. 6'3", 202 could certainly add some weight to that frame. But national champione this season, 72.3% completion percentage, just shy of 3,000 yards passing, career 49 touchdowns, 11 picks. And also, a lot of it is, you look at Bo Nix's numbers, you look at Hendon Hooker's number last year, where you have to parse out how much of it is him, how much of it is the system. But McCarthy, respect. I mean, McCarthy produced in a very pro-style system with Harbaugh and Michigan. Took care of the ball, and he was pretty damn solid when called upon. A 90.8 PFF grade, strong arm, accuracy at all 3 levels, throws with anticipation, wicket off of play action as well. Lots of experience in play action and playing under center, which in the Kevin O'Connell scheme he's going to have a lot of. And you could say he was limited by the Michigan offense, but he played the role that was needed. And could you say that he's a game manager? Sure. But is it a spot where you're betting on the traits and he's still growing and developing as a player? And, he won in Michigan doing what his team asked him to, and with some NFL coaching and tutelage, and also in a great situation here with Minnesota, with JJ and Addison and Hockenson and Darisaw and O'Neal and Kevin O'Connell. I mean, you're kind of good. You're kind of good to go, especially if Kirk returns for a year, maybe 2. McCarthy sitting and marinating for a little while is going to make that super tender. Cornstarch. Cornstarch is the key for tenderizing, by the way. That's an Asian secret. 4th round. So sticking in the Big Ten, Michael Hall Jr., the defensive lineman, defensive tackle, defensive end from Ohio State, 6'2", 280. Now, 6 career sacks, but 12.2% career pressure rate, and a phenomenal Senior Bowl, was borderline unblockable in a lot of one-on-one spots. Long arm, quick first steps, strength to take lead blocks on. I think that he is probably destined to be a 4-5 tech in the Flores scheme. Maybe kicking in and sugar triggering that B gap when the Vikings go 4 down linemen in certain packages. But I think Hall, with his burst, with his high motor, I think that he's a guy that's going to contribute a lot at the next level. Like, he didn't put up the gaudy stats at the Ohio State University that you would want to see, but also it's sort of like Daniil Hunter, or you're betting on a mid-round guy because of the traits, and then you go from there. Also sticking in the 4th round, another Big Ten guy, because why the hell not? So Braylon Allen, the pride of Wisconsin. Now, he grew up in Wisconsin and obviously was a Badger, so he's probably a Packer fan, but whatever, man. And no, this is not a Michael Bennett situation. It's like, hey, we can't take Braylon Allen because Michael Bennett didn't work out in like 2003, man. But super young. He will be 20 during his rookie season, 6'2", 238. And could you say like he's like a diet Derrick Henry? Could you say he's sort of like a A.J. Dillon, Charles Clay, Brandon Jacobs type runner? Yes. Certainly so, but career 34.94 on the ground over 3 seasons in Madison, 35 touchdowns, 5.9 yards per carry, and he's a little bit more fleet of foot than he gets credit for, but he is that hammer. He is a north-south guy. He does have a frame that can sustain a lot of contact, but good agility and vision for his size, good balance, career 3.77 yards per carry after contact, but it's a situation where he wasn't really asked much to be a receiver or a pass blocker, but when he was, it wasn't great. And especially with Luke Fickell opening up more of a spread air raid offense in Madison this last year and moving away from the boring-ass Wisconsin I formation pro-style offense, it was a transition for him. And he did not put up as big a numbers as he did his true freshman and true sophomore season. But I think that, hey, if he just is a first and second down guy, a short yardage goal line guy, and you pair him up with Ty Chandler, I mean, God bless. I'm good to go there, man. Next up, 5th round, also sticking in the Big Ten. Second Michigan guy, won't be the last one either, but Michael Barrett, linebacker on the Wolverines, 6 foot 239. Heart and hustle type dude, 65 tackles, 3.5 tackles for loss, 3 sacks for the Natty Wolverines, 84.3 PFF grade. Now, he's not a huge downhill heat-seeking missile in the run game, but he can cover sideline to sideline. He is plus in that department. Good motor as well. Plus, it does have some nice leadership intangibles. I think right away he can contribute on special teams. And if he could be the one-for-one replacement for Troy Dye, where he's a special team stud and a guy that could scale up and be a solid backup, maybe develop into something more, I think that's huge value in the 5th round. Next up, also in the 5th round, also another Michigan guy, guard Trevor Keegan coming on in. Now, I want size up front, and it's going to take a couple off seasons to get there, but Keegan is a good place to start. 6'6", 320, left guard mainstay over the last 4 years in Ann Arbor, 68.6 PFF grade in 2023. 0 goose egg, D'Angelo Russell sacks allowed, 11 pressures. Also a big part of that Michigan offensive line that just completely paved the way for Blake Corum and company. And ass. He's got ass, and functional strength at the point of attack, can drive block, works well communicating with the rest of the offensive linemen, and the Michigan O-line was a freaking machine this year. You saw what happened up front. Plus, could Keegan develop into a starter down the line? Sure, but I think at minimum, especially given his size and his length, I think that he could be a functional 4-position backup. Both tackle, both guard spots, and that also has a lot of utility on the team. Also in the 5th round, also Big Ten, cornerback Johnny Dixon coming on in. Ooh, we got an A-. Yeah, there we go. But Johnny Dixon, part of that great Penn State secondary that's got Kalen King and Daquan Hardy, which are going to be high draft picks as well. But 6 foot, $191, 3 years at Penn State after 2 at South Carolina. Senior Bowl was looking good, but got dinged up. Had to withdraw, didn't play in the game. But length, great recovery speed, good feet as well. 9 pressures and 7.5 sacks over the last 2 seasons. So they utilized him quite a bit in the blitz game. So played a lot of outside, but quite a bit of slot, some safety as well. I think his versatility would play extremely well with what Flores wants to do up front. Oh, what up? What up? And I think that he could mold himself into a Mike Hilton type player. Mike Hilton of the Bengals is one of my favorite corners in the league, man. There you go. Into the 6th round. Or whatever. 6th round, 179, damn she fine. Brennan Jackson, edge rusher out of the Washington State University, 6'4", 265. And I like him a lot because He's destined to be a strong side for Tech, given his size. 8.5 sacks and 40 pressures in 2023, 12.5 tackles for loss in Pullman. Wait, they have Pullman? They have Pullman or Walla Walla? One of the two. Doesn't matter. I know they're Pullman because Bledsoe's from Walla Walla, and then he went to doesn't matter. But high motor, high football IQ, really solid frame. Could be a Cam Hayward adjacent type player. Reads blocks and keys well, stays disciplined. Needs a little bit of technique refinement in the pass rush game, but certainly can get that. And right away, immediately he is a plus in stuffing the run. And anything you get more out of him as a pass rusher is certainly a bonus on top of that. And then the 7th round pick, which the Vikings don't have, Evan Anderson. So, again, we have the meats. So, you got your premium edge rusher in Latu. You got 2 defensive linemen who could be 4-tech, 5-techs, and also some 3-tech in there. And Michael Hall Jr., Brennan Jackson. And then you got your nose tackle, baby. So, we didn't get Tavondre Sweat. Don't matter. Evan Anderson from Florida Atlantic. Who? No, that's the Owls. Yeah, Evan frickin' Anderson, man. So, 6'2", 365. 3-year starter for the Owls, 20 career tackles for loss, 42 pressures, 7 sacks during his time in, I don't even know where Florida Atlantic is. Doesn't matter. But run stuffing is his forte. 86.7 career PFF grade against the run. Quick burst, heavy hands, amazingly agile for his size. And I actually think that his 40-yard dash, he's going to have a very solid 10-second split, which is something that we know that Kwesi puts a lot of stock into. Consistently takes on multiple offensive linemen, plugs both A-gaps. Now, a level of competition is a little bit of a question mark, except I think he does a lot of things that are translatable, and he has an NFL-ready body, and he will be ready to rock and roll day one. And a spot where, hey, could you work in Evan Anderson and Kyrus Tonga in some short yardage spots and some goal line? Baby. Well, we certainly would have a stew going back to we have the meats. That's right. And overall, like I said, getting Latu, getting Hall, getting Jackson, getting Anderson along the defensive line, and then sprinkling Dixon and Barrett, I think it's a pretty damn good defensive draft. I think Brian Flores certainly would be happy with this one. But your thoughts are thoughts. Another Vikings 7-round mock draft. Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work, put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.